India's security challenges are growing sharper by the day. With rising threats from hostile neighbors and cross-border terrorism, India is no longer in a position to rely on restraint alone. The message from New Delhi is now crystal clear. Any attack will be met with a strong and decisive response. That message was delivered loud and clear during Operation Sindoor. Following this operation, a major development is now emerging from India's defense establishment. The Indian Ministry of Defense is preparing to seek a nearly 20% increase in the defense budget for the financial year 2026 to 2027, one of the largest proposed jumps in recent history. The trigger for this shift was a brutal terrorist attack in Pahalgam in April, carried out by Pakistan-backed militants, in which 26 innocent civilians were killed. The attack was not just cross-border terrorism, it was an attempt to ignite religious hatred inside India itself. India's response came swiftly. On May 7, 2025, New Delhi launched Operation Sindoor, a precision military campaign that is still ongoing. In a series of coordinated strikes, the Indian Armed Forces destroyed 9 major terrorist hubs across Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. These were not symbolic strikes. India deployed BrahMos supersonic cruise missiles, the Akash air defense system, and indigenous combat drones, showcasing the growing reliability of its homegrown military technology. Pakistan attempted retaliation, launching hundreds of drones and missiles toward Indian targets. But India's multi-layered air defense network intercepted and neutralized the threat, preventing major damage. The active phase of the operation lasted only a few days, but its impact was global. Operation Sindoor sent a clear signal. India has moved beyond old doctrines of restraint. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has described this as the new normal, a policy where terrorists and their sponsors are treated as one and the same. Now, the question being asked in New Delhi is this: why is a massive defense budget increase needed right now? The answer lies in the lessons learned from Operation Sindoor. First, the operation exposed the rapid rise of drone warfare. India now plans to dramatically expand its fleet of surveillance drones, loitering munitions, and kamikaze drones, while strengthening anti-drone systems such as the indigenous Bhargavastra counter-drone platform. Second, the conflict highlighted the need for stronger air defense coverage. Systems like Akash and Russia-made S-400s are expected to be expanded to create a nationwide, multi-layered air shield, particularly along border regions. Third, India identified gaps in long-range strike capability. The upcoming budget will prioritize standoff weapons, extended-range missiles, additional BrahMos variants, and advanced platforms capable of striking targets deep inside hostile territory without crossing borders. Defense Secretary Rajesh Kumar Singh has openly stated that India's tough neighborhood and long-term security environment demand sustained investment, and that the Finance Ministry is expected to back the proposal. For the current fiscal year 2025 to 2026, India's defense budget already stands at a record 6.81 trillion rupees, roughly 9.5% higher than last year. Out of this, 1.80 trillion rupees is allocated for capital expenditure, new weapons and equipment, 3.12 trillion rupees for operational costs like salaries, fuel, and maintenance, 1.61 trillion rupees for pensions, and 2,817 crore rupees for defense research and development. Notably, 75% of capital procurement is reserved for Indian companies, reinforcing the country's Make in India and defense self-reliance strategy. If the proposed 20% hike is approved for 2026 to 2027, India's defense budget could cross 8 trillion rupees for the first time in history. That money will focus on advanced drones and counter-drone warfare, expanded air and missile defense systems, long-range precision strike weapons, new fighter aircraft, helicopters, and artillery infrastructure upgrades, roads, bridges, air bases, and logistics in border regions, greater funding for private companies, startups, and MSMEs working alongside DRDO to develop next-generation defense technologies. Here's the global context. India safeguards 17% of the world's population, yet accounts for only around 3% of global military spending. China, by comparison, spends nearly 12%. Operation Sindoor proved that Indian-made weapons work, and work effectively, but it also made one thing clear: modern warfare demands continuous investment. This proposed defense budget increase is not just about national security. It's about jobs, technology, industrial growth, and strategic deterrence. India is preparing for the future, and the message to its adversaries is unmistakable: the era of hesitation is over.